Hey, how's it going? My name is Shakiel Mahjouri. You can call me Shaq here for FanSided. And I've had to deal with a lot of scheduling issues, but never has it been so hard to track down one man as it has been to get Ian Butler on the show. Ian, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So before we get into all the chaos and the logistics, tell me about your recent tour. You just got back from Iraq. What was that like?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was a life-changing trip for sure. I was there for 2 weeks. Um, I left December 10th, supposed to be back December 2nd, but that didn't happen. I got back later. But it was amazing, man. I was in Kuwait, and then I was in different places in Iraq, like Al Hassan and a lot of other places, spending different days in Iraq and going to bases and meeting the soldiers and doing jujitsu with them, hanging out just because they can't come home for Christmas, just sending a little joy and spending time with them.
What do you take away most from a tour like that?
I mean, I definitely so I went with Mark Munoz, Benny Delius, Jake Ellenberger, Caitlin Young that has fought in Invicta, and I have made like lifelong friends, like forever, like we still have the same group message and we're still chatting on there still to,
That's dope.
you know, like
Yeah.
it was amazing, and I kind of in a way you have to get comfortable with death a little bit though too, like we
Mhm.
late at night just because like our plane won't get hit by like RPGs or anything, so like it was very surreal. Like you have to definitely think like, oh, if this plane goes down, like I had a good run, right? I had a good run at life, right? Like yeah, but I think it puts a lot of stuff in perspective, like going to Kuwait and how they're a totally different culture of like women can't vote, you know,
Yeah.
uh, girls have to can't wear shorts, they need to wear pants. If you're in a hotel room with another girl, it needs to be your wife, or you can't stay in the same room. So like, I definitely probably took a lot of things for granted for living in the United States, and I'm definitely extremely appreciative of it for sure.
Um, that caught my ear when you mentioned the learning to be comfortable with the idea of death. Because I don't know if it's something that happens in your 20s, but I've had that conversation with a lot of people my age recently who are just starting to come to that realization. Is it nice learning to live with the fact that death is real? Because I feel like some people have a lot of trouble digesting that.
No, for sure. And if a lot of people don't know my story before, like I died in overdose and came back from death, but still at the time, like I wasn't ready for it. Like I wasn't comfortable with it. Um, Now I'm extremely comfortable with it, and I don't think a lot of people think about it at all. Like and because death is real, like we grow up and it's like we know that our mom and dad are not going to be here forever. You know, like when we have kids, we're not going to be here forever for them. You
Hmm.
know, and I a lot of people skip over that and don't talk about it at all. So it's something that like I actually have to get like in touch with and enrich with that like, hey, death is possible. People die every single day. You need to be comfortable with it, and I mean, I think it's a good thing to actually recognize it and be accepting of it, honestly.
Hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about the overdose? When did it occur? Was it before you started training MMA? After? During?
It was way before, but I was already wrestling.
Hmm.
Happened in high school, and I was wrestling. I had a couple offers from a couple schools. And at the time, I was doing, I should say, kid stuff of smoking weed, tapping into alcohol. And my friends, who I thought my friends at the time, were getting into more like pill popping, doing other stuff like that. And
Hmm.
I wasn't really doing stuff like that. I just smoked weed, drank. When it came to wrestling season, I didn't do anything. Um, One day we had a party and my friends, wrestling season about to start, so it was my last time I was gonna smoke or drink and do anything. And they said you should pop these pills with us, and I was like, no, I don't want to. And so what they did was they saw the little candy box I was eating out of, like eating out like this, and they thought it'd be funny to pull a prank and put a whole bunch of pills in my candy box, and I swallowed
Ooh.
over 20 pills. Woke up.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
not funny.
not funny at all. By the way, those friends are not my friends
Yeah,
anymore.
I like to hope so.
And I woke up in the ambulance, and then I went back to sleep, and then woke up in the hospital, and they said my heart stopped about like a minute or so, or probably even more. And the nurse said that, like, yeah, you overdosed. We brought you back. You're not even supposed to be here right now. A whole bunch of colleges found out what happened and took a lot of my scholarships away, and I had to rework, like, coming back. And then the school found out, and they kicked me out of school. So I got my
Whoa.
E and finished my senior year at home, actually.
How can they kick you out when you were
I,
basically spiked?
I know, I know, I know. And then the colleges also said though too, like, I was like, look, it was an accident, like it wasn't my fault, but they said you shouldn't have put yourself in a scenario, to for that to happen in the first place. Understandable, but still, like me, I'm like, it's not my fault, But like,
Yeah.
I totally understand, like, in the school that I'm like not a good influence by like taking all these drugs, and they pretty much just thought I was just taking drugs and I overdosed and died. Like they didn't know like I was pranked or anything. They didn't want to hear it, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And and I had to finish school at home, and then after that I went to a small school in Greenville, Illinois, and then I went to Lindenwood, and then from Lindenwood on, like, Lindenwood produced Jonathan Brookings,
Mm.
Josh Ojkovich, a lot of UFC fighters. Already knew Tyron Woodley and Michael Chandler through the wrestling community, Ben Askren, because they're from my area, and that's when I started getting. In the summertime, I started MMA classes, and that's how like my MMA career pretty much got started from there.
Um, what is a situation like that? Especially, it's very rare that you hear an overdose story that wasn't, to some degree, you didn't ingest. Most people meant to take the drugs,
Right.
and so when they overdose, it tends to teach them a lesson about themselves. For you, what did you learn from that situation? Because really, it wasn't your fault. You're not the one who took the drugs.
Yeah. It's something that I actually preach every single day when like kids come at me to want to like be mentored by me. Just put good people around you, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thing. I have the most horrible people ever to be in my circle. Like they didn't do athletics, they didn't do anything, but my house was the house that my mom would let me just do anything. So
Yeah.
my party house, like I can drink drugs. They just hung out because they can come over and do that stuff. And then after that happened, I completely separated and kind of just build my own circle, and I had to kind of readapt, and I honestly had to reinvent myself of who I was as a person,
Mm-hmm.
and it completely changed my life actually for the better.
Now, before we get on to the fight, I do have to ask, since we kind of skirted over it, what happened exactly? We were supposed to have this interview a few weeks ago. You lost your passport on the way home. Can you please tell me the story?
All right, stolen. It was stolen. Like,
Stolen. Got
so
it.
yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. Like, stolen. So
Do you know who stole it?
no, not to this day.
All right.
It's another life lesson I learned too. Don't ever use your passport as a wallet and put cash in it at
Mm-hmm.
all. You know,
Ever.
that's what I was doing. But my passport was safe throughout the whole trip. The whole trip of going to Kuwait, going to all the other bases in Iraq, completely safe. Our last base was Arif John, Camp AJ in Kuwait. We leave at 2 o'clock that morning. We had our rolling session at 6. Got to hang out. I had my passport on me, and on the bus when we're going to the base, we went there to go see their combatives. And I'm actually watching the combatives, and the guy goes, "Hey, if you want to hop in and show us some moves or anything," I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? Like, I have a fight coming up. I'll get some extra rolls in before." So I was rolling with them, and my passport actually falls out on the mat
Mm.
with my room key. And the soldier's like, "Hey, here's your passport and everything," and I got it, and then I put it in my bag. We went to the place where you can just play ping pong, the USO, play ping
Mm.
pong, do whatever. I had it there, and then I went back there, and then I checked my bag after we started rolling. After we got back to the bus, she's like, "Hey, we're getting ready to leave. We're gonna go to the hotel." She's making this huge announcement. We're gonna pack and go from there. I looked in my bag, passport was gone.
Damn.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what happens in a situation like that? And you're trying to get home halfway across the world, no passport.
So luckily I had help for
Okay.
sure. I had so when you go over there, I had orders, U.S. orders.
Mm-hmm.
So my U.S. orders was like a senator, so it's equal to like the president of the United States coming to visit the troops. So high up orders, right?
Yeah.
So at least I have that. I also had a copy of my passport, thank God, but in the situation, still doesn't help. You know, so what you have to do is call the U.S. embassy,
Mm-hmm.
whatever embassy that you are, whatever country you're from.
Yeah.
It was late that night. Even though it was closed, there's always somebody there at the embassy. So I called. I was like, "Look, like, this is what happened. It's emergency. I got to go home." You know, and then they're like, "Okay, well, we have your name down. We're trying to do something from there, but you're gonna have to call the embassy in the morning. But at least I know that you're gonna call."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I did that. One of my escorts took me back to the base. I went on the computer to fill out an appointment to get a appointment done to go to the embassy. The appointment said I was scheduled to show up January 6th.
Ooh.
Not gonna fly. And
Yeah.
it's December. I was supposed to come back December 22nd. It's December 22nd that day,
Yeah. You've been
and
told two
like,
weeks.
yeah, exactly. Like missing Christmas, everything. Like, no, wife's not happy. Nobody's happy. And they're like, no, just show up, say that you're American, say that you need help. So I go to the embassy, and then I kind of just like finagle my way in and just be like, look, an American, it's emergency. They're like, your appointment's not till January 6th. I'm like, I need to go home now. I have no money. I have no place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I embellished it a little bit, and they're like, okay. And I waited 5 hours, and they got me an emergency passport to go home. So my escort was talking to the person that booked the tickets in the first place, that ran
Yeah.
this, and they were like, all right, let's book his ticket the next day to leave at 2 o'clock in the morning because we know that he's going to get his emergency passport. So I get my emergency passport at the embassy, and they said, here's your emergency passport, but you still can't go home. And I'm like, why? And they're like, but he said you came in with a different passport. So the gonna customs is gonna wonder why like you're not in the system with your new passport. So you need a local police report. By the way, they all speak Kuwaiti. None of them speak English. And then you need to go to the government office and register your new passport. And by the way, they're closed right now, so you have to wait the next day. And I'm like, but I leave like this morning. I
Yeah.
leave
Your
like,
flight's booked.
exactly. And they're like, okay, let's figure something out. And pretty much my escort in the military snuck me through customs with my emergency passport to get me home. So, and that's how I got home.
Shout out to that guy.
Yeah, I know.
What a
He's a big,
lifesaver.
he's a big time lifesaver, and I came home on Christmas Eve. Everything worked out, so yeah,
Phenomenal. Well, you're here now,
I'm
and
here.
what you have to look forward to is a fight versus Craig Plaskett.
Yeah.
So I got some peanuts caught in my throat at Bellator 214. Yeah, man. You know those Five Guys peanuts, the ones you can just
Yeah.
grab as many as you want on the way out. Those things are dangerous. You're coming off of a loss, correct?
I am. I am.
How important for you is it to get this next win, get back on track?
I mean, it's big time important, and the loss. Now they say, okay, losses teach you lessons, right? I'm a big positive. I'm a very positive guy and big stuff on word plays, right? Like
Hmm.
L stands for lesson. I think I truly, for the first time, learned a very huge lesson in my last fight because I was favored. I was destroying the guy, and I lost to the guy in like the last few seconds because I rested and took it easy. And I took him down. I went for a submission. I didn't get it. I didn't get the guillotine. He laid inside control. I'm like, oh, like whatever. Like I'm just gonna chill here. And then next thing you know, he has me in a deep Kimura that I'm like, all right, he's gonna break my shoulder. You
Yeah.
know, I shouldn't have never let him got in this position in the first place. And I relaxed and I chilled.
Hmm.
And because of that, like I hired a mental coach. So like that would never ever happen ever again, you know. And then I hired like one of the top jiu-jitsu coaches just because like I think I have a good ground game, but that should have never happened in the first place. I should have never put myself in that position in the first place. So I've truly definitely grown because of that too, and it's very important. I think every win's important, you know. And plus, I want to move on to bigger and better things. Not saying Bellator is not a bigger and better things, and I've been there for like over 4 years, but like, yeah, like it gives me opportunity to get a win, get back on track. You know, it's my last fight on this deal too, so I think that's really important too.
Are you looking to re-sign with with Bellator?
Um, you know what? We'll see what happens. Like
Yeah.
I like them. I like Rich. Rich Shear, the matchmaker. I love Scott Coker. He's been nothing but nice. The Bellator staff has been nothing but family to me. They treated me right. They always text me, always hit me up on Instagram, like
Hmm.
follow me even throughout. You know. Um, the only thing I say I don't like is when I came in. I came in with a name, and they built me up pretty well, you know. But it seems like I'm not getting that much love anymore because I've been here for a while, you
Yeah.
know. Obviously, I got to get wins also too, right? But there's a lot of Eddie Alvarez said it best. Like it's the best time to be a free agent right now,
Hmm.
you know. So like I just want to look at other stuff right now. I love Bellator and I love what they do. I like one, like for sure. I like PFL, you know. Couple wins. I like even like the Contender Series on the UFC.
Hmm.
So let's just see where it goes for sure.
For sure. What do you think is your biggest advantage over Plaskett?
Uh, you know what? Like I would say endurance for sure. Like I see
Hmm.
him gas in a lot of fights. He lost against Joey Davis, like I did, but he went all three. I got caught in the first round, you know, in the first few seconds. I credit that, but a lot of his fights, I see him get tired a lot. You know,
Hmm.
he's a brawler. I'm way more technical. I mean, I train with Jason Perillo. Like that's one of the best boxing coaches like in the sport today. And I even fought in glory kickboxing. You know, like
Yeah.
just to get considered to just fight there, it says something. You know, the rest of all my life, like I think I have technique wise, I think I can beat him everywhere. But I think endurance wise and having a gas tank, I can probably gas him at the same time.
Since you mentioned Jason Perillo, let me get your thoughts on this quickly. Cyborg versus Nunez obviously did not go Cyborg's way.
Right.
A lot of people are saying she lost her cool, that she really gave up on a lot of the technique and the patience that she had built under that camp.
Right.
Would you give a similar impression?
I I say so. Like it usually she's a little more technical. Usually she stays behind the jab and everything else. Just
Hmm.
like almost all of us are almost the same. We still have our own different attributes for sure. But as far as the hands, you know, like jabbing, throwing cross, like throwing straight down the middle, using your forearms to block, you know, and everything else, and not throwing extremely wide and wild, you know. So yeah, I say so, you know, and I just talked to her last week, and yeah, I talked to her right after it happened, you know, and I just commended her on like, I mean, you were undefeated for 20 years,
For
you
sure.
know, like but not only that, but the way that she handled herself at the press conference is extremely tremendous. Like the way that DJ handled himself after he lost to Cejudo, you know, like it's
Yeah.
she's a champion inside and outside the cage just because of her attitude, and she didn't shy away, you know, like. I don't know if anybody got her joke too when she came over with the little pillow and the hoodie, like the Ronda Rousey situation when she was at the airport.
Yeah, I know.
No, nobody got it, right? So when she came to the press conference, you noticed that she had like a pillow
Yeah.
and the hoodie, right? So after Ronda, when she got knocked out from Holly Holmes, she didn't do any media, and that's how she was walking in the airport when everybody was trying to get photos around her. Was with the pillow, that was with the little pillow,
Ah.
that hoodie, and she hid,
Yeah.
and that's how she arrived at the press conference. So it was kind of like a little slam on Wanda, like a little joke, but I don't think nobody really got it.
Did is that just something you picked up on, or is that something that you know she had planned in advance, or that she
I,
may
I
talk
think
to you about?
I think no, that's just something I picked up on
Yeah.
because obviously she didn't plan on losing, you know, but like
Fair.
you know, but it's it was just really it
Ah,
just I like
interesting.
stuff like little stuff. Like I love MMA, so like I like being like a little encyclopedia. So like, and I love staying in the sport, but it was something I definitely picked up on. Like
That's
when
a good eye.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to look into that. Now I want to get to 214, but before that, I was talking to my editor over at FanSided, Amy, and I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about what it was like meeting your dad for the first time after your last fight.
yeah. So I mean, I haven't met my dad ever until last year for the first time, and it was at my fight. Um, it was very surreal, very strange, very weird. I always it was funny because I got married, I think 2 months before my fight,
Mm-hmm.
and I was on the honeymoon. Bellator gave me a call after I was on in Italy eating pizza and being fat all day.
Yeah, for sure. That's what you got to
Sure.
do.
Yeah, for sure. And I met him. I talked to him like 3 weeks, 4 weeks before my wedding date,
Mm-hmm.
actually. Um, and my siblings found me on his side, and they're like, "Hey, well, let's let you know we have the same dad." I'm like, "No, you guys are lying." And they're like, "No, your biological mom name is Denise, but her real name is Sorrentha, which only close family members know."
Yeah.
Uh, okay, maybe she's telling the truth, and talk to her, and then yeah, and then she goes, "I talked to my dad. He wants to talk to you. He wants to meet you." And then that day, I talked to him for the first time, and then he goes, "Yeah, I looked you up. Like you look like you're doing well. Like you're in Bellator. You're doing amazing things in your career. I'm proud of you. I heard you had a rough life. Wish if I knew that I can help out before then. Like really easy to say now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, do you feel comfortable if I come to the fight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So not only did my dad come, but all my other siblings I haven't met showed up that night too. And it was just cool to just get to know him. So yeah, and plus it kind of takes away from the fight. Like you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be obviously you don't want to be distracted by. I mean, I don't go out like going out clubbing or anything else or doing
Yeah.
that, but you don't want to think about the fight 24/7. The work is already done. All you got to do is go in and fight the next day. So it was a good distraction to like have.
How, like you said, it's easy to kind of enter someone's life and say, I wish I'd done that. I wish I was there. Looks like you're doing good. But how much did it mean that he went out of the way to ask you, hey, can I come see you fight?
It meant a lot. It meant a lot. And he also asks like, "Is it okay?"
Yeah.
You know, which I think is great. Uh, it was good. It was really good. Especially and plus I wanted to meet him.
Hmm.
I really wanted to meet him. Like, the funny part about it when I was filling out my marriage certificate, they asked who my father was, and I forgot his name, and I had to call my mom and ask him. And yeah, and then I think it was last month, a couple months ago, I went to Vegas and spent like 4 days with him, and just to get to know him like a little bit more. And the crazy part about it, I think throughout my all my siblings, I'm the one that's similar to him actually.
Huh. It's interesting how those things work out, huh?
And seeing how it works out, and I'm the only one that wasn't in his life actually. So yeah.
Now, I'm just looking at the clock, and I feel like you and I could sit here and do this forever, which
Yeah,
means
sure.
a follow-up interview is in order. But let's leave on a fight note just to wrap things up. Bellator 214, big event, obviously. Headliner Ryan Bader. Oh, took a snapshot. Lovely. Skype's
Yeah,
weird, man. Skype's crazy these days. You can't help it. I was just
yeah.
complaining about it. 214, Fedor Emelianenko, Ryan Bader, heavyweight Grand Prix
Great.
final.
Yes.
What is your take? Who's going home with that shiny heavyweight belt?
Ooh. Okay, so obviously, like, huge MMA fan. I love Fedor. I mean, I think you kind of had to if you're deep in MMA
Hmm.
roots. Like, if you go all the way back to the Pride days. Like I love people like that, like the Nigeras back in the day, like the old, like Gegard Mousasi,
Yeah.
Um, I I want Fedor to pull it off, but I don't think it's gonna happen, man. I think Ryan Bader has became a completely different person. Um, when he came in, winning the title, and I think the biggest thing was like when Ryan Bader beat Phil Davis, I was like, okay, he beat Phil Davis. But when he took out King Mo like that,
Hmm.
I was like, okay, this is a different kind of guy. Like he something has changed for sure. And I think first of all, I think age does play a factor too.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think so. Like especially when DC knocked out Stipe. Like DC's almost done, but still, but Ryan's a lot faster. His reaction time's a lot better. Um, I know Fedor has Sambo, but Vader's a high level D1 wrestler,
Hmm.
And in the power advantage, I kind of get the Vader. Like he's explosive. So I really don't see how Vader can lose this fight. I mean, obviously it's a fight and anything can happen, and he can get caught with a right hand. But I think Vader's going to be the new heavyweight champion at the end. I think.
Do you have a prediction on the outcome for your fight?
Yes, I say third round stoppage.
You say all the right things, Ian Butler, and I hope it pays off for you. Ian Butler fights Craig Plaskett at Bellator 215 in LA on January 26th. Ian, thank you so much for the time.
Hey, thank you.